During the long and bloody Vietnam War, the jungles of Vietnam became more than just a battlefield. For many American soldiers, the thick forests, swamps, and misty nights created an environment that felt alive and full of secrets. The war itself was brutal, with hidden traps, sudden ambushes, and an enemy that could vanish into the land. But what made the experience even stranger were the countless stories soldiers told about things they could not explain. Some spoke of ghosts wandering the rice fields at night, said to be the restless spirits of villagers or fallen fighters. Others described invisible presences following them through the jungle, watching but never seen. Strange lights were sometimes reported in the skies, and mysterious sounds filled the darkness when no enemy was around. In such a stressful and terrifying place, fear mixed with imagination, and soon tales of cryptids and paranormal beings spread among troops. These legends, whether born from trauma, superstition, or real unexplained encounters, became part of the war itself, making Vietnam not only a struggle against an enemy army, but also against forces that seemed otherworldly. Hey everybody, I'm Blast. I make videos about video games or urban legends, just whatever really I want to talk about. And today's video is specifically focusing on legends that the American soldiers and Marines and just the troopers told each other while they were serving during the Vietnam War. And the reason why I wanted to make this video was not only is it an interesting setting and I wanted to talk about more urban legends from Vietnam because I think they're interesting, but also because I have a personal tie to this whole thing because my grandfather served in the Vietnam War, and he found out what my channel was and started talking to me about ghost stories that he experienced. And he was telling me about how during the Vietnam War some of the Marines were talking about some kind of invisible force, a ghost or some kind of entity that was in the jungles and would laugh at them. So I thought that was really interesting and creepy, so I decided to look more into it on the internet, and I found a few different stories that I wanted to discuss and share with you guys today. So without further ado, this video specifically is dedicated to my grandpa, and if you're watching this video, grandpa or anyone else, thank you for clicking on the video. So let's get into it. One of the most popular and chilling stories told about Vietnam involves the American tunnel rats, soldiers that were trained to crawl into the underground tunnel systems built by the Viet Cong. These tunnels were already terrifying, dark, cramped, and filled with booby traps, but one legend tells of an encounter that felt more like a horror movie than a brutal battlefield. According to the tale originally shared on Reddit, two tunnel rats moved deeper than usual into a hidden network when they found something strange. A set of stairs leading even further down, carved into the earth as though it were a natural formation. Against their better judgment, they followed the steps and entered a wide chamber lit by flickering candles. There, they claimed to see a group of Vietnamese villagers or soldiers kneeling in silence, their eyes fixed on a golden statue. The statue was unlike anything they had ever seen. It was shaped like a woman, but instead of legs, she had long, twisting tentacles curling around the base. The figure seemed almost alive in the candlelight, and the worshippers never moved or spoke, as if entranced. The two Americans, overwhelmed with dread, backed away quietly and left the chamber without firing a shot. They later described the event as something far beyond the war, as if they had stumbled onto a forgotten cult, or a being that belonged to another world entirely. Truly Lovecraftian. Another story that spread among soldiers in Vietnam was about strange, invisible beings in the jungle. Troops said these entities would follow them at night, unseen but always felt. Sometimes they would set off tripwires or even trigger claymore mines without being harmed, as if they were mocking the traps meant for the enemy. Men swore they could hear laughter echoing through the trees after a trap was sprung, a sound that didn't match any human voice. It was high, distorted, and carried on the humid air long after the jungle went silent again. Some soldiers thought it was the enemy playing tricks, while others believed it was spirits tied to the land. anger at the presence of outsiders. The most unsettling part was that these presences never showed themselves, leaving soldiers to fight an enemy they couldn't see, one that seemed more supernatural than human. On top of the dangers of combat, American troops also had to deal with eerie sounds in the jungle that blurred the line between real threats and the supernatural. The Viet Cong were masters of psychological warfare, often playing recordings of crying children, wailing women, or ghostly voices through hidden speakers at night to unsettle soldiers. These sounds mixed with the natural noises of the jungle, screeching insects, howling animals, and strange echoes, until many men could no longer tell what was real. Some reported whispers that seemed to come from right behind them, only to turn out and find that there was nothing there. Others heard footsteps in the brush, but no enemy ever appeared. Combined with exhaustion, fear, and isolation, these tactics broke down the minds of many soldiers, leaving them haunted even in silence. For some, it felt like the jungle itself was alive, full of voices meant to drive them mad. In the end, the stories of ghosts, monsters, and strange beings in Vietnam remind us how deeply the war scarred everyone who lived through it. For American soldiers, the jungle became more than just a battlefield. It was a place of shadows, whispers, and fears that often felt supernatural. For the Vietnamese, both soldiers and villagers, the war brought destruction to their homes, their families, and their land, which had its own long history of spirits and legends. Whether the tales of golden statues, invisible entities, and eerie voices were real encounters or born from stress and trauma, they show how war pushes people to their limits, blurring the line between reality and nightmare. These legends have survived because they capture the feeling of facing not only an enemy, but also the unknown. While the stories are chilling, they also remind us to respect the courage and suffering of all who lived and died in that war, on both sides. In their memory, these tales stand as more than just ghost stories. They are echoes of fear, survival, and the heavy price of conflict. War is hell. So that's pretty much all I had to say about this. I'm sure there's a whole lot more stories and maybe even cryptids that I failed to mention. Maybe I'll make another video, or maybe I'll just make a separate video on like cryptid type creatures. But I'm not too sure right now. But what I am sure about is that I'm sorry for not uploading in about a week. Or it's going to be a week. I don't know when this video is going to come out, but I haven't been uploading because I've been having too many ideas to juggle with. And not only that, my family just got a new puppy, so I'm taking care of the little guy, and it's causing me to sleep in, not being able to write my scripts. So I apologize for that. And that's really all I have to say about that. Just wanted to keep you guys in the know, if you guys, want to know. But pretty much that's the end of this video. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a like, make sure to leave a comment telling me what you think, what's your thoughts, whatever. And subscribe if you want to see more from me. I'm not going to keep you around too long. I want this video to be a little bit short, so I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.